Amid the ruins of a painful past and the promise of an uncertain future, Natalie returns to her hometown, where long-buried memories await her at every corner. What she doesn't know is that this homecoming will be more than a simple journey into the past. It will be the start of a transformation that will change her life forever. Are you ready to join me for today's story? It was a golden late afternoon, and the sun was slowly hiding behind the clouds, leaving a soft light that painted the sky with shades of nostalgia. Natalie, with hesitant steps, walked down the narrow street of her old hometown. The sound of her footsteps echoed in the silence, keeping pace with the thoughts dancing in her mind. After years of living abroad, she was back. But the truth was, returning had never been part of her plans. Everything here carried memories she had tried to erase. Natalie had left the town years ago with nothing but a suitcase and a shattered heart. She had rebuilt her life in another city, working as a chef at a small restaurant that, over time, became renowned for her special touch. But the constant work and fast-paced life were never enough to silence what she truly missed: the home she abandoned and the dream of finding an inner peace that always seemed out of reach. The decision to return wasn't easy. It took years before Natalie felt she could face the ghosts of her past. An unexpected letter, sent by an old neighbor mentioning the deteriorated state of her childhood home, was what finally pushed her to make the decision. Something inside her knew it was time to confront her memories and perhaps find a way to start anew. When she saw her old house for the first time, a tightness gripped her chest. The facade was worn, the windows dark, and the once vibrant garden was overrun with weeds. It was as if time had frozen there, waiting for her return. That house, which was once a warm home, now seemed like a strange reflection of Natalie herself. She had changed too. In her bag, she found an old key. Her fingers trembled slightly as she held it, as though the weight of that small object carried the entire history she had tried to forget. She took a deep breath, feeling the cold air fill her lungs, before inserting it into the rusty lock. The door creaked, letting out a sharp sound that echoed through the silence, as if protesting her intrusion. The interior was dark and dusty, filled with a melancholy that seemed to whisper secrets of the past. Each room Natalie walked through told a story: the laughter of children that once filled the space, heated arguments that left invisible marks on the walls, and shared dreams that seemed to have been lost to time. But there were also moments that drove her to leave. Moments that, though unspoken, still weighed on her heart. She paused for a moment in the middle of the living room, looking around. A space that was once full of life was now empty, but not without meaning. Natalie felt a mix of longing and pain. That house held not only memories of a childhood that seemed so far away, but also the scars of disillusionment that had made her leave. It had been a difficult, yet necessary decision. She remembered how, years ago, she had rushed through that same door, carrying a suitcase and the hope of never looking back. She had fled to find something new, something that would make her forget. She found refuge in another city, dedicating herself to gastronomy, turning her talent with flavors into a career as a chef. But no matter how many perfect dishes she created or compliments she received, she could never fill the void she carried. The void of leaving behind not just a place, but pieces of herself. Now, with her eyes fixed on the dust dancing in the faint light streaming through the old curtains, Natalie felt she could no longer run. That decaying space seemed to be waiting for her, as if they both knew it was time to face what had been left behind. It was as though the house also wanted a second chance. The betrayal of Marlon, her ex-boyfriend, still weighed heavily on her. He had not only broken her heart but also shattered her trust in love. Seeing him with her best friend had caused Natalie's world to collapse. At the time, fleeing seemed like the only solution. But now, years later, she was there, confronting the ruins of what remained. In the days that followed, something began to change. As she looked at the house, Natalie realized that the place, like her, didn't just need repairs, it needed a complete restart. The accumulated dust, cracked walls, and broken windows reflected the marks life had left on her heart. When she called a renovation team, she knew that the decision to restore wasn't just about bricks and paint, but about something much bigger. It was a symbolic act, an attempt to erase the scars of the past and give herself a fresh start. Each strike of the hammer, every stroke of paint, represented a step in her own healing. Natalie spent hours walking through the rooms, planning how to transform that empty space into something that reflected who she wanted to become. The renovation wasn't just about rebuilding a house, it was about rebuilding her identity. It was time to replace painful memories with new hopes and leave behind the ghosts that still haunted her. Looking at the weathered facade, Natalie thought about how the house, even in ruins, seemed to whisper, "I'm ready to start over, and you?" She knew this new beginning would be challenging, but she also understood that she wasn't just rebuilding walls, she was rebuilding herself. That's how Julius entered her life. He was the head of the renovation team, a man with a simple appearance and a calmness that seemed to fill the space around him. He had deep eyes, steady gestures, and a reassuring presence. Unlike Marlon, Julius didn't seem to be trying to impress or hide anything. He was genuine. As they worked together, Natalie couldn't help but feel curious about him. Gradually, small interactions emerged, like sharing a coffee or chatting casually about the weather, which soon turned into spontaneous laughter as he explained how to fix something. At first, these were just simple details of daily life, but over time, Natalie began to notice something deeper in these exchanges. What touched her most was how Julius listened to her. He didn't just pay attention to her words, he seemed to understand the silences, the feelings hidden behind what wasn't said. There was a growing connection between them, something that started subtly amid conversations about the renovation. Natalie, who had closed herself off for so long, felt a mix of hesitation and attraction toward this man. For her, it was hard to believe she could open up again. The fear of confusing her emotions and the possibility of disappointment weighed heavily on her heart. However, she couldn't deny the genuine attraction that grew stronger each day. Julius, on the other hand, showed respect and patience. He never crossed boundaries, but his presence was constant and comforting, like a safe harbor amid Natalie's internal storm. There was something about the way he touched objects or the care he took with the house's details that caught her attention. It was as if every gesture reflected who he truly was, attentive, honest, and authentic. Julius, though reserved, also seemed to feel something growing. But like Natalie, he knew this connection needed time to develop. And so between paints, tools, and late-day conversations, what had started as a friendship began transforming into something deeper, though neither of them knew exactly how to handle it. One day, while looking at the debris of an old wall, Natalie opened up. She shared her story about Marlon, about the betrayal, the pain, and how it made her question who she was. Julius listened in silence, without interrupting or offering solutions. When she finished, he said something simple yet powerful. "We can't change what happened, but we can rebuild what's broken, step by step." Those words stayed with her for days. He encouraged her in subtle ways, like bringing a plant for the garden or showing her how each restored piece held its own value. At the same time, something within Julius began to change. He realized that the feelings he had for Natalie went far beyond simple admiration. It was love, a quiet love that grew between exchanged glances and casual conversations. Julius knew that when the renovation was complete, he would need to open his heart to her. One day, before leaving for work, Julius decided to talk to his mother. Sitting in the small kitchen of the house where he grew up, he spoke about Natalie, about how she had transformed his life without even realizing it. His mother, a wise and caring woman, listened attentively with a gentle smile on her face. "Mom, I've never felt this way before. She's different. I see the pain in her eyes, but I also see strength. I want to be by her side, but I'm afraid of scaring her. What if she doesn't feel the same?" Julius asked, his voice filled with uncertainty. His mother held his hands and with a deep gaze replied, "Julius, true love isn't about guarantees. It's about courage. You see in Natalie an opportunity to build something beautiful, something she might not even imagine is possible right now. Be patient, but be honest. If you truly love her, show it with your respect, your care, and your words. Sometimes, all someone needs is to know that we're willing to walk beside them, without rush, without pressure." Those words struck Julius deeply. He knew his mother was right. He decided that when the house was finished, he would confess his feelings to Natalie, not with grandeur, but with sincerity. He wanted her to know that, regardless of her response, he would be there for her. Finally, the day came when the house was complete. It was a reflection of both the past and the present, a place where old memories coexisted with new hopes. On a sunny afternoon, Julius led Natalie to the restored garden. With a shy smile, he knelt before her. Natalie, I know we both have scars, but I believe that together, we can build something real. I want you to be my wife. His words took her by surprise, but they also brought a sense of peace. For the first time in years, she felt she could trust again. It wasn't an immediate yes, but a yes filled with hope. The kiss they shared was like a new beginning, the start of a story they were ready to write together. Months later, the house was full of life again. Laughter echoed through the halls, the garden flourished, and the aroma of fresh coffee filled the air. Natalie and Julius, side by side, had transformed the ruins into a home. Every detail of the house told a story, not just of a restored space, but of two souls who had found the strength to start over together. The house, once a symbol of pain and abandonment, had become a beacon of rebirth. One sunny morning, as they watched the garden filled with the flowers they had planted together, Julius held Natalie's hand and said, "I never imagined this renovation would change my life so much. We didn't just rebuild this house, we rebuilt the love we thought we had lost forever." Natalie looked at him, her smile radiating peace and gratitude. "And I never thought I could trust again. But you've shown me that true love is patient, respectful, and above all real." Life wasn't perfect, but it was full of genuine and meaningful moments. What they had built together went far beyond a house. It was a partnership rooted in trust, understanding, and the certainty that, even in the face of storms, there would always be a new chance to start again. And so, their story became a powerful reminder that the scars of the past don't have to define the future. With courage, patience, and love, it's possible to turn ruins into a home and broken hearts into something stronger and more beautiful than before. This was the legacy Natalie and Julius left, not just for themselves but for everyone who crossed their paths, the certainty that even after the fiercest storms, the light can shine again. Did you enjoy this heartwarming story of resilience and love? Don't forget to like the video, share it with your friends, and subscribe to the channel for more inspiring stories like this. Leave a comment below telling us what touched you most about Natalie and Julius's journey. We're excited to hear your thoughts. And remember, there's always a new beginning waiting for you.